Okay, so in the previous video we created basic routes based on the URL, so I can go between the about and the regular index page, and I can render two different elements. Remember that we are doing front end rendering or client-side rendering with React 19, and then React Router is the one that is helping us create those multiple routes. This is what is called like a single page application, and React is the one that is taking care of all of that. Also, to emphasize that basically what React is doing, if I'm understanding this correctly, is that we only have this index HTML, and then everything in React is being rendered inside this route. So even if you change those things, everything is being changed inside that. So next thing I want to do then is to start creating like a navigation bar that helps me go between the two different elements. So for that, I am going to use React Bootstrap, which is the little framework we are using for the look and feel and like the whole, I guess, UI library, I can call it. So if you come in here, then in React Bootstrap, then there is a bunch of components that we could be using, and here is an example of a navigation bar. So basically we can go and just use that one here. So what I am going to do is that if I go into my, like say for instance in my index page, so I want to show that like probably up here. So I could just copy and paste this in here. And I mean, that's a little bit too much because it contains all of the rest of the code. But actually, let's go and do it. So I'm going to do this one. I don't need this one. I am looking for the GSX. So I'm going to put that GSX in here. And then all of this I'm going to take up. And like, I guess, yeah, I think this is a good place because it's kind of like systems. I already have the containers, so I can get rid of that one. And then let me actually send these ones to the top. So we can have it a little bit more organized. So if I do that, this should work, but it is going to be, as you can see, like now I have a navigation bar. Problem is, like whenever you're creating React components, you don't want to be like just creating like huge React components. You want to keep like the solid principles of design of elements. So one of those is like each component should like do one simple thing. So in this case, in React, it will be better if I could just go and say, this is going to be my navigation bar, okay? So if I do that one, then actually I can come in here and then say I'm going to be importing the navigation bar. I like what Copilot suggested in there. So let's go and rename this for navigation bar, and then let's make it self-closing because I don't have anything else. And then of course this thing starts complaining because the navigation bar doesn't exist. And then navigation bar.gsx, and then remember we just create a component function which is going to be, that was very stupid, Copilot, because you know the file name. I expected more from you. And this is the return. So I guess I can expect that in there, and then I can refresh that. Remember, always keep your developer tools open so you can see what are the errors that you are making. And then I guess I can have all of these, and in a very subtle way, VS Code is telling me that those three weren't being used. That's why I deleted them. And then I do this one, and then now I have a navigation bar. Now in here, I want to start changing this and say this is my apartment finder. And then I am going to have like listings. And then the other one in here is going to be my about page. It also has these other things, this drop down and things like that I don't really need. So I can actually get rid of that. Remember, do not have like extra leftover code that you're not using. It's going to stay in there. And what I want to be doing in here is that I want this thing to go into the home and this other one to go into the about page. This is creating like a regular link with Bootstrap. We probably want to use, like when you actually go and look at React Router, they do have links specific from them that you can use. So I wonder, I have to check how to combine the two of them. For the moment, I think this will work. So let's go and see. And if we find any problems with that, then now we can see this takes me to the about, and then this takes me to the listing. Now the only problem is that if I go into the about page, then I cannot, I don't have like a navigation bar in there. So you could go and just duplicate this code and then put it in there as well. Interesting that you didn't fail for that. But something I prefer doing is just creating a template that I will be reusing in all the pages that I create, and that's what we're going to do in the next video.